A revelation is upon us. The foundation of what everyone believed to be true is about to be shattered. Elon Musk has made his move, an offer unlike any other, a $1 million decision that will change everything. But this isn't just about money. It's about truth, long buried, now rising to the surface. Right now, an estate attorney steps forward. The will, the secrets, the questionable provisions, they're all being dragged into the light. No more hidden clauses, no more deception. This isn't speculation. This is undeniable proof that will rewrite everything. The dishonest will fall. The rightful will reclaim what was always theirs. When deception collapses under the weight of truth, only justice remains. Be ready. The chosen ones are about to receive what was destined for them all along. They believed that all evidence would be lost with time. They felt they were untouchable because of their positions of authority. They persuaded themselves that you would always be in the shadows, a footnote in a narrative under their authority. However, the universe maintains flawless records. A person carrying a briefcase full of vindication reaches your home. This person has been tracking down the source of treachery for months or even years. The documents that this messenger of fate is carrying, materials bearing the seal of unquestionable truth, will destroy the illusion of reality that surrounds you. It is neither too early nor too late to make this realization. This symphony of justice is orchestrated by divine timing, with each note playing just when the cosmic conductor requests it. Since you are finally prepared to accept what was always intended for you, the hour of reckoning has arrived. Now, every strategic decision they took to conceal your fortune is being undone. The icy reality of exposure freezes every smug grin shared across boardroom tables when they believed they had secured their heist. When cosmic alarm bells ring through their dreams and they are startled awake by the dreadful revelation that they have been found. Every night that they slept soundly on pillows filled with your due, plenty, suddenly comes to an end. Be ready. The curtain is being torn aside with the power of decades of karmic vengeance, coming together in this one-of-a-kind epiphany. Not lifted lightly. Long before many people understood its worth, the wealth that carries your name was inscribed in pen and blood. It includes not just money, though there is enough of it, but also property, assets, heirlooms, and objects that have energy imprints that match the frequency of your soul. It is a legacy that both commands and transcends the earthly world. Do you believe that the abrupt behavioral changes of certain family members, the evasiveness of the trustees, and the inability of the executors to find the appropriate moment to address some issues were all coincidences? A cosmos with perfect order is devoid of coincidences. Your supposed guardians came up with a complex plot. Documents changed in the middle of night while seeming to respect the desires of the departed throughout the day. Signatures made with hands that once held you. False testimony from hearts that calculated gain and lips that professed love. Their network of dishonesty extended into legal practices, banks, and family get-togethers, with each thread aimed at diverting your wealth into their accounts. They made bogus revisions using backdated notary stamps, set up offshore accounts with passwords and security questions only their inner circle knew, and formed shadow corporations. Some even had the gall to assert that the original will was lost due to unspecified floods, fortuitous fires, or simple misplacing during office moves. With covert meetings in vacation homes you paid for, dinners where they celebrated their cunning while you were struggling to make ends meet, messages in coded language about the situation being handled and loose ends being tied up, and each betrayer playing their designated role in the grand deception. The sympathetic shoulder, the perplexed messenger, the seemingly helpful advisor advising you to accept and move on. The audacity reached unprecedented heights. The greatest family betrayal took place behind mahogany doors and inside leather portfolios, while weddings were attended with speeches about family values, Birthdays were celebrated with gifts bought from accounts swollen with your resources, and holidays were spent sitting across tables, chit-chatting, while protecting explosive secrets. What these traders did not realize, however, is that human machinations cannot change destiny. Every transaction, every money diversion, every fabricated document, and every rumored plot are all documented in the cosmic ledger. And now, forces outside of their control are auditing that ledger. People who believed they were in control of the puppets now feel as if they are being pulled. People who thought they changed your tale now see they were just villains in a much larger drama that ends with your vindication and their exposure. A person glided through the shadows created by tall legal institutions. As you went about your life, maybe suffering, maybe feeling something wasn't right but not knowing what it was. With subpoenas in hand, rather than swords, this investigator and truth seeker has been gradually tearing down the stronghold of lies, one brick at a time. This lawyer is a legal bloodhound whose career has been geared toward this particular case. He is not your typical lawyer. Every weekend given up to study legislation, every late night spent poring over records, every gut feeling tracked down to its origin. All of this was preparation for the day they would reveal the truth intended for you. It is hard to overlook the pile of evidence that has accumulated. Forensic document analysis demonstrating alterations made with different inks, different pressure patterns, and different handwriting disguised to appear the same. Witness testimonies from staff who observed the original will and whose consciences could no longer bear the weight of silence. Bank statements revealing suspicious transfers carried out within hours of death. And email threads where conspirators grew careless and spoke too freely about their schemes. Most people can't handle the truth, even if it's said to set you free. The whole cosmic download, no sugarcoating, no escape, is what the selected ones in the Obsidian Inner Order are dealing with. Imagine weekly group calls with over 450 selected individuals that are recorded and accessible at any time for your education. Not only is our private Discord operational, but it's alive and humming with innovations, ideas, and that unstoppable chosen energy. And welcome to Chosen Singles, where soulmates connect based on cosmic alignments, rather than cheesy pickup lines, for all of you romantics out there. Explore contemporary manifestation mechanisms, our unique grimoire, which has 3 chapters accessible to members if you're interested. Discover how to utilize magical energies to advance your objectives. Learn basic spellcraft for physical manifestation, and transform your house into a prosperity magnet. Additionally, you'll get access to video specials that are so daring that the YouTube archons don't even want you to see them, as well as interviews with actual targeted people. This is a movement, not just a membership. What are you waiting for then? Give up looking and begin climbing. The description contains the URL. Courts that used to ignore it are now compelled to do so. Judges who may have been swayed now have to deal with evidence that is too strong to reject without ruining their own reputations. The legal system, that intricate framework meant to be confusing to the uninitiated, has changed from being a barrier to an ally. Distractions and misdirections were overcome by the inquiry. Your lawyer discovered that their document was made after the purported signing date when they presented alternative wills. Documentation from other sources refuted their claims that certain assets never existed. Voice recordings from their last days showed their steadfast desire for you to inherit everything, even when they claimed the dead had changed their mind about you. In a chess match against amateurs, your lawyer moved like a grandmaster. Motions were previously filed in anticipation of their attempts to postpone using procedural obstacles. Algorithms and professional aid helped them retrieve the crucial evidence from masses of unnecessary documentation that they had tried to hide. Prepared answers exposed the flimsiness of their allegations when they threatened countersuits. In order to reach its final destinations, safe deposit boxes in Switzerland, real estate holdings in the Cayman Islands, art collections kept in free ports, and gold reserves in Singapore, The investigation grew beyond national boundaries and followed money trails through shell corporations and former nominee directors. Every possible avenue is explored, every hiding spot is examined, and every transaction is tracked down. Even if it took longer than expected, justice was always there. It just accumulated power, proof, and cosmic velocity. Panic spreads like wildfire within penthouses you inherited and behind mahogany doors. Flights to non-extradition nations are scheduled. Papers are being destroyed till computers overheat. Hard drives are erased. Emergency meetings are convened at midnight, and connections are frantically contacted, but abruptly refuse to respond. With every new discovery, their masterfully crafted house of cards trembles. In return for leniency, the devoted accountant, who assisted in wealth concealment, now provides evidence. The paralegal who certified phony papers now acknowledges that they never saw real signatures. In order to avoid being prosecuted, the financial counselor who created shell corporations now reveals full documents. If you pay careful enough, you may hear the sound of their plan failing. In an attempt to be the first to claim ignorance, compulsion, or minimum participation, each betrayer now betrays the others. Because they are afraid of what the others could disclose, those who join together based on your money now find it impossible to remain in the same room. They clearly fear not only the legal repercussions, which are looming due to possible charges of fraud, conspiracy, embezzlement, and perjury, but also public exposure, the breakdown of their carefully constructed social personas, the disassociation of associates, and the revelation of their true selves to family members. They are no longer comforted by the money they took. When others notice their absence and start whispering, their exclusive memberships turn into liabilities. Their homes seem like prisons, and their fancy automobiles lay unused because they are too familiar. When they realize that nothing is worth the impending tsunami of repercussions, the very things they once desired now hold them down like anchors. Night after night they are unable to fall asleep. As bellies clench with tension, appetites disappear. Stress hormones overwhelm systems built for infrequent danger, not daily horror, and health deteriorates. Some use drugs as a short-term escape, such as prescription drugs used in excess of authorized doses, or pricey bottles of scotch drained in frantic gulps. Others turn against one another, making allegations behind closed doors while putting up a unified face in front. Relationships are never built to endure their lawyers. They break down under pressure. The same legal experts they paid handsomely to build their scheme now advise surrender, washing their hands of clients who have become liabilities to their firm's reputations. Once confident and reassuring, they now deliver devastating news with grim faces. The evidence is overwhelming. This case cannot be won. We need to discuss settlement options. You should prepare for significant financial penalties. Criminal charges are likely. They continue to look for escape routes that are no longer there. They still offer to discreetly settle, but it's far too late. Nevertheless, they try to get in touch with you and provide answers that are so obvious that they denigrate intellect. The awareness that what they stole was never really theirs to own fuels their desperation, which intensifies every hour. Your estate lawyer is now navigating postal systems, internet platforms, or traffic to convey news that will realign your world as these words reach you. This is destiny completing itself, not just knowledge coming in. Maybe an unknown number may ring on your phone. Maybe you'll get an email with the subject line urgent, settlement discovery. Maybe you'll need to sign a certified letter. The most potent possibility is that an unexpected guest will show up with a briefcase full of papers too delicate to entrust to any delivery agency. Each page of the message, which includes official seals, court orders, judicial rulings, authenticity certificates, DNA results, and witness affidavits, vibrates with confirmation of what your gut has been telling you all along. something significant, something that was rightly yours, was stolen from you. Whether it was buried in storage units, secured in safety deposit boxes, or hidden in digital archives behind encryption that only the co-conspirators could access, the original will was never lost. However, when disclosure is required for universal justice, no hiding spot is safe. The weight of cosmic confluence rests on this moment of realization. Ancestral powers were triggered, energy gateways opened, and stars aligned. Even the most doubtful brains are amazed at how precisely the moment comes. Why now? Why at this particular time in your journey? Because only now are all the pieces in place, the legal foundation established, the proof gathered, your spiritual preparedness at its height, and the conspirators' defenses at their most vulnerable. In addition to having legal power, the message has spiritual importance that goes beyond legislation and courtrooms. This is cosmic correction, taking the shape of physical manifestation, the cosmos saying enough. This is the unseen hand of justice manifesting itself via human beings who may not even be aware that their function extends outside the legal system. The first astonishment may be replaced by queries such, how could they? When this realization hits you, and it will, why would they? Now what? The materials that are being given provide solutions to these queries. The estate attorney has foreseen every query, handled every potential difficulty, and removed every barrier that may stand in your way of obtaining what was always intended for you. This message comes as both a conclusion and a start. It opens a book of wealth and closes a chapter of deprivation. It ends a time of injustice and begins a time of healing. Above all, it validates what your spirit has always known. The cosmic plan never ignored you. Assets will be frozen. Accounts will be moved. Property titles will be reissued. Trusts will be redirected. Investment portfolios will be restored and family treasures will be delivered. All of this will happen at a rate that will make your head spin. Once it is in motion, the restoration mechanism runs relentlessly. The transfer signifies the restoration of power to its proper root, and more than just the exchange of riches. This is the cosmos restoring a flow that was reduced, redirected, and dammed intentionally. With the intensity of every second it was suppressed, the abundance that was intended for you but was prevented for so long now surges toward you. Once obstructive legal teams are now paving the way. Financial institutions that traditionally insisted on following processes now speed up transactions. Previously processing documents at glacial pace, government offices now operate with a level of urgency never seen before. With amazing effectiveness, the same mechanism that they used against you now works for you. Observe the appearance of properties bearing your name in portfolio listings. Watch as real estate empires pass into your care. Observe how your financial statements show investment accounts that generate hundreds of dollars every day. Watch as jewels, automobiles, art treasures, and artifacts arrive with insurance documentation and authenticity certifications. Discover the peculiar feeling of having things come home to you, things that seem familiar, even if you have never seen them before. Once securely shuttered doors suddenly open with hospitable gestures. Calls that were never returned are now answered before the first ring is finished. Membership invites are being sent by organizations that previously refused applicants. Your energy signature has shifted, returned to its natural frequency, and is magnified by the justice that is now permeating your experience, which is why the world reacts differently. Yes, this restoration gives worldly prosperity, but more importantly, it puts you back in the story that others tried to remove you from. Your name, which was previously purposefully left out of papers, is now bolded on each page. Once rejected, your connection is now formally acknowledged. Once questioned, your belonging now has the seal of unquestionable affirmation. No more hints that you desire too much. No more gaslighting, and no more being told you didn't understand. The spiritual reality now coincides with the legal truth. With interest, all that was meant for you is being restored. The amount of money misdirected has increased. Every missed chance has grown. Each broken bond has grown stronger. In addition to giving back what was stolen, the legal system also grants damages for the theft, emotional anguish compensation, and sanctions against the individuals who planned the deceit. Once tipped to your detriment, the scales of justice now balance so perfectly that even doubters are amazed. Such complex situations are not the result of cosmic forces acting aimlessly. Even though it was a lengthy and terrible struggle, it was both a test and a testament. You were put to the test because your soul consented to utilize this experience to prove certain truths, not because the universe had any doubts about you. When there was no financial incentive, this challenge showed who was really on your side. It revealed whose affection depended on your position or inheritance. It revealed whose allegiance endured adversity and whose disintegrated at the first sign of precipitation. Even though they are painful, these insights provide you invaluable clarity as you go. Even though the sums involved would be staggering, this was never just about money. It was about power. Who has it, who uses it, who gives it up, and who steps up to assert it when others believe they can't. You have shown your value by persevering when all reasonable excuses to give up were offered, not because you battled flawlessly. Because of the delay in receiving your inheritance, you develop skills that you might not have otherwise developed. Self-reliance beyond comfort limits, resourcefulness beyond human capacity, a deeper spiritual connection forged out of necessity rather than convenience, and sharpened intuition from having to determine the truth without outside validation. These abilities now provide the basis for managing money at levels that few are equipped to manage. Think about how you would have approached abundance years ago versus how you do it today. It's possible that the person you were before this fight wasted what you will now grow. What will now be appropriately transmitted may have poisoned the awareness you inhabited back then. It's possible that the relationships you would have made back then would have drained what is now safeguarded and focused on the most important goals. Your perseverance throughout this procedure has had unintended consequences. There are now legal precedents that will benefit anyone who are subjected to comparable injustice. The experts who saw your case have become more watchful, meticulous, and truth-driven. Even those who opposed you have gone through personal struggles that might eventually change how they see right and evil. Most significantly, your experience has shown that human manipulation is eventually subordinated to cosmic rule. The people behind this scam functioned under the guise of control because they thought their cunning exempted them from responsibility. Their failure is evidence that no human plan, no matter how complex, can ever triumph against divine law. Everyone who sees your vindication learns a lesson. Family members discover that without integrity, family ties are nothing. Business partners learn that karmic repercussions are too great to be outweighed by temporary advantages. Society notices that when justice is in line with universal truth, it occasionally comes at the ideal moment. For you, the lesson goes beyond the particular situation. No obstacle in the future can break the resilience that this experience has fostered. It has acquired discernment that will be impervious to future deceit. It has validated belief in invisible forces that cannot be diminished by uncertainty in the future. You come out not just with more money, but also with more knowledge. Be strong throughout this time of change. The seemingly never-ending fight now turns out to be just a precursor. Now, the uncertainty that impairs judgment gives way to complete comprehension. Now, the waiting, the tried patience becomes receiving with gratitude. This is the beginning of your promised prosperity, not just the end of a court case. More than just paperwork, the estate lawyer provides reinforcement and affirmation that you were never insane for asking questions, neurotic for suspecting, or entitled for thinking anything was yours. The documents they display are a tangible representation of spiritual validation. See how some people find excuses to get back in touch all of a sudden. Those who turned away from you during your struggle are now drawn to you because of your recovery. Observe how previously closed circles send invites. Take note of how you were treated differently in places where you were previously ostracized. The reaction of the world exposes the shallowness of institutions that prioritize riches over character, status over people, and appearance over substance. Each piece of income that comes back to you has a unique function, such as funding certain visions, supporting specific goals, or housing specific activities. The inheritance comes now because you have the insight to manage it for its greatest good at this time. What seemed to be a detrimental delay was, in fact, just the right moment. Although there will be possibilities for both, this new chapter does not start with retaliation or gloating. It starts with the silent strength of someone who has seen the promises of universal law come to pass. It moves on with the serene assurance of someone who has seen justice emerge in the face of insurmountable obstacles. It happens with the realistic assurance of someone who understands that everything momentarily taken was never really lost. The will, which they so valiantly attempted to conceal, is now a public document. Now, your name glows for everyone to see, inscribed where it always belonged. Now, the truth that they concealed under mountains of lies emerges as your cornerstone. Your elevation is what they meant to be your erasure. The universe maintains flawless records. Perfect accounts are maintained by the universe. And just as it was always supposed to be, the balance now shifts in your favor. The estate attorney has shown up. The information is verified. You own the inheritance. A new age has begun.